Hello guys, in this lecture we are going to see modern trends in HVDC technology and some operating problems in HVDC systems. Let's start with modern trends in HVDC technology. The continuing technological developments in the area of power semiconductor devices, digital electronics, adaptive control, DC protection equipment have increased the pace of application of DC transmission. The major contribution of these developments is to reduce the cost of converter stations while improving the reliability and performance. With the concern of modern trends in HVDC systems or HVDC technologies, we are going to see that power semiconductors and valves. The cost of converters can come down if the number of devices to be connected in series and parallel can be brought down. The size of the devices has gone up to 125 in diameter and there is no need for parallel connection. The increase in the current rating of the devices has made it possible to provide higher overload capacity at reasonable cost and reduce the lower limit on transformer leakage impedance, thereby improving the power factor. The voltage rating are also on the increase. The development of direct light triggered thyristors, that is LTT, should also improve the reliability of converter operation. The cost of the valve is also reduced by the application of zinc oxide, gapless arresters, and protective firing methods. Wall design with a suspended wall structure ensures safety in seismically active locations. The power rating of thyristors is increased by better cooling methods. Deionized water cooling has now become standard and results in reduced losses in cooling. The power rating of a 12 pulse converter unit has increased up to 3000 megawatt at 500 kilovolt. LTD, that is light triggered thyristor valves rated at 125 kV 2400 ampere are used at Sakuma frequency converter station in Japan. LTT valves, that is light triggered thyristor valves rated at 133 kV 2000 ampere have been in operation in the Celilo converter station of 500 kV Pacific Intertie system in USA since 1997. Each valve is made up of 44 series connected thyristor arrangement in two modules. Each thyristor is rated at 8 kV and requires only 40 milliwatt of gate power to turn on, compared to several watts for electrically triggered thyristors, that is ETT. To simplify thyristor electronics, the forward over voltage protection is integrated in wafer. As forced accommodation converters operating at high voltages are uneconomic, the development of devices that can be turned off by application of a gate signal would be desirable. Gate turn off, that is GTO thyristors are already available at 6 kV and 4000 ampere. However, the main disadvantage of GTOs is the large gate current needed to to, to turn them off, and low switching speeds which do not allow low switching speed do not allow pulse width modulation. In contrast, IGBT, that is insulated gate bipolar transistor device, requires much less power to turn off and has high switching speeds. IGBT converters are available at plus minus 150 kV and 350 MVA rating. Switching speed up to 2 kHz are feasible. Next concern is converter control. The development of microcomputer based converter control equipment has now made it possible to design system with completely redundant converter control with automatic transfer between systems in the case of malfunction. Not only the forced outage rate of control equipment is reduced, it is also possible to perform scheduled preventive maintenance on the standby system when converter is in operation. The use of a mini simulator will make it feasible to check vital control and protection functions. The microcomputer based control also has the flexibility to try adaptive control algorithms or even the use of expert systems for fault diagnosis and protections. The control and protection requires the measurements of direct current. Traditionally, the direct current is measured using transducers of zero flux type based on magnetics, which are bulky and prone to problems during transients. Recently developed hybrid optical measuring system uses an ohmic shunt, the voltage drop across which is measured and digitalized by an electronic circuit located at high voltage potential. The measured signal is transmitted through optic link to ground potential. Future developments will employ simplified construction through the application of the fiber optic current measurement system based on Faraday's effect. According to this, linearly polarized light rotates by an angle directly proportional to the magnetic field produced by the current in the conductor passing through the optical sensor. The accuracy of the optical current transducers is better than 0.5% and bandwidth exceeds 5 kHz. The next concern is nothing but DC breakers. With the development and testing of prototype DC breakers, it is possible to go in for tapping an existing DC link or the development of new empty DC systems. Parallel rather than series operation of converters is likely as it allows certain flexibility in the planned growth of the system. The DC breaker ratings are not likely to exceed the full load ratings as the control intervention is expected to limit the fault current. The control and protection of MTDC system is not straightforward extension of that used in the two-terminal DC systems. The possibility of decentralized control necessitates by commutation failure, the coordination of control and protection are sometimes of issues currently being studied. Next, conversion of existing AC lines. The constraints on ROW are forcing some utilizing to look into the option of converting existing AC circuits to DC in order to increase the power transfer limit. There could be some operational problems due to electromagnetic induction form. An experimental project of converting a single circuit of double circuit 220 kV line was commissioned in 1989 and 1990 in India between Lower Silero and Barsur under the National HVDC project. It is feasible to convert the double circuit AC line to a bipolar HVDC line with substantial power upgrading about 3.5 times. Next is operation with weak AC systems. The strength of AC systems connected to the terminals of a DC link is measured in terms of short circuit ratio, that is SCR, which can be defined as SCR is nothing but the ratio of short circuit level at the converter bus and rated DC power. If SCR is less than 3, then the AC system is said to be weak. The conventional constant extinction angle control may not be satisfactory with weak AC system. The recovery of inverters following the clearing of fault in the connected AC system can also be problematic. Constant reactive current control or AC voltage control have been suggested to overcome some of the problems with weak AC systems. The use of fast reactive power control at the converter bus by applying static VR systems is another alternative. Limiting dynamic overvoltages through converter control during load rejection is being a standard practice. The power modulation technique used to improve the dynamic stability of power system will have to be modified in the presence of weak AC systems. Coordinated reactive and active power modulation has been suggested to overcome the problems of voltage variation that can limit the effectiveness of power modulations. Next concern is active DC filter. In the 90s, a hybrid filter made up of an active filters based on voltage source converter in the series with the passive filters has been developed to improve the filtering of harmonic currents flowing in the HVDC lines. The active filters can eliminate both characteristics and low frequency non-characteristics harmonics. Both Siemens and ABB have supplied active filters. In India, Chandrapur to Padghe HVDC project uses an active filter in each pole. Next is capacitor commutated converter. This involves the connection of commutation capacitors in series with the wall side windings of converter transformer. This is not strictly a new technology and it has been studied under the label of force commutator converters. The advantages of capacitor commutated converter, that is CCC, are improved voltage stability when operating with the weak AC systems and reduced risk of commutation failures, and also less load rejection over voltages and reactive power requirements. The CCC can be combined with AC filters that have low reactive power ratings. This can be automatically tuned passive filters or active filters. The CCC technology was first applied in Garabi BTB project for power exchange between the Argentina and Brazil. This is rated at 1000 megawatt and ACR can be as low as 1.5. Another project incorporating CCC is a 200 megawatt station at Rapid City, that is in USA, commissioned in 2003. This is a BTB HVDC link that interconnects eastern USA system with the western system. There is no synchronous interconnection between the two grids. The last one, UHV DC system, UHV DC transmission system. Ultra high voltage UHV DC transmission at plus minus 800 kV is being considered for transmission of large blocks of power above 3000 megawatt for distance beyond 1500 km in China, India, South Africa, and Brazil, where large hydropower resources available in remote areas are developed. A bipolar HVDC line operating at plus minus 800 kV can transmit power in the range up to 500, 5000 or 6000 megawatt with two 12 pulse converters per pole. It is claimed that information currently available on the flashover and western characteristics of air gap is adequate for the design of plus minus 800 kV systems. Thyristor ratings may have to be increased by adopting 6-inch diameter wafers. This is about the modern trends in HVDC systems or technologies. Some operating problems in HVDC systems. With the growth HVDC technology over the years have been impressive and resulted in several new projects all over the world. Some problems have surfaced that affected reliable operation and in few cases even led to catastrophic failures. These problems are being addressed and not likely to pose major difficulties in the adoption of HVDC technology by system planners. For that, first problems regarding converter transformers. According to the statistics of CIERE, it revealed many failures in converter transformers have been occurring, although concentrated in a few HVDC projects. The major problems are in the area of turn-to-turn failures in wall side windings, leads, and clits failures. Also, DC bushing failures. Although the failure rates of converter transformers are not too far from the failure rate of AC transformers. The consequences of the HVDC converter transformer failures on the system operation are much more severe. The effect of repetitive commutation transients has been identified as potentially harmful, particularly during high firing angle operations. This is aggravated by the effect of copper sulfide deposition on the electric field distribution. It has been shown that the commutation failures in the upper rectifier bridge may result in voltage stresses in the lower bridge in excess of the stresses causes during the DC insulation test. In addition to the commutation transient, other high frequency transients generated by adjacent systems in AC or DC systems may cause internal winding resonance that can pose the problems. These transients may be affected by substation, design layout, or grounding system, etc. Test specifications may have to be changed to ensure that transformer functions satisfactorily in service. Second problem is regarding the flashover performance of HVDC converter station insulators. Insulators such as wall bushing capacitive voltage dividers and voltage transformer suffers external flashover caused by rain, fog, snow, and ice. At some converter stations, there were several flashovers at the beginning of their operation. The maximum flashover rate occurred between 1987 and 1989, invoking about 20 flashovers per year. Most flashovers occurred in the wall bushings, followed by large diameter insulators. The wall bushing flashovers occurred mainly in the rain and at negative polarity. The application of booster shades, silicon grease coating, RTV silicon rubber coating, etc. have resulted in reducing the flashovers per converter stations by a factor of 10 to about 0.1 per station per year. Recently, dry type bushing with SF6 insulation have been developed, which are also safer from the fire risks. Third problem is regarding wall hall fires. In 1989, a converter in Itaipu HVDC station in Brazil was totally destroyed due to a fire, probably caused by a leakage in cooling system associated with the corrosion. Subsequently, there were fires in wall halls in Rihand in India, Silmar in USA, and Gezoba in China. In the Silmar converter station of Pacific DC Intertie, the wall were completely destroyed in 1993. The adjacent wall hall had extensive smoke damage requiring much arduous clearing. Incidentally, Silmar station was also affected by the 1994 earthquake. The building having mercury arc walls was extensively damaged, although the equipment damage was not as severe as in the 1970 earthquake. There were 3 fires in Nankyu converter station in China that were caused by thyristor electronics, water-cooled resistors of the wall reactor, and water leakage. The fire in Selmar station is also ascribed to thyristor electronics. The fire in Gezuba converter station in China was caused by loose connection between the reactor winding and copper connector. Fourth problem is regarding problems of ground return. Although ground return during the monopolar operation cuts down power losses, it can also cause problem with the buried metallic structures and three-phase AC transformers with grounded neutral. The DC current flowing through the ground can be enter the neutral and flow through the transformer windings and AC lines. The DC current flowing through the three-phase windings tend to saturate the magnetic cores unequally. The current magnitudes depends on the potential of ground mats where the transformers are located. As the magnitude increases, there is a distinct audible hum at fundamental frequency. The increase of the hum is noticeable when the DC current per phase exceeds the magnitude of the magnetizing current by the ratio of 1.2 to 1.5. At higher currents, the transformers may overheat due to increase in iron losses. The solutions to this problem are not simple. Blocking devices, that means capacitor in the shunt with the protection arresters, are generally connected between the neutral and ground mat. Sometimes the neutrals can be grounded through resistors of a few ohms. Alternatively, capacitors may be connected in series with the three phases of the line to which the transformer is connected. The problems of ground return can be avoided if we have monopolar operation with or without dedicated metallic return path. The scheme without a dedicated metallic return path is grounded only at one of the terminals and results in lowest cost. In this case, monopolar operation is feasible during the converter pole outage but not during the HVDC line conductor outage. And the second one, restriction on the ground current flowing during the monopolar operation.